Hello, and welcome to Take This TV, the television book club podcast where each week we watch an episode or two of our favorite shows and we talk about them with our friends in the fandom, which happens to be you. Hello, I'm Carmen Askernes, and I'm joined as always by the wonderful Kimberly Woods. Hello.
Hey, hot potatoes.
And this season we're watching Fallout.
And today we're on episode 3. It's called The Head. The Wasteland's got its own golden rule. I love these little Amazon blurbs. They're perfect.
They are. It's just enough.
I
What did you
love
think
how in
about
this
this episode?
I love how in this episode we get like this whole theme of like everybody's rules.
Yeah.
From, Lucy's the golden rule. You can't treat people like this because of the golden rule. Do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. And then we get, our guy, the Ghoul, being like, thou shalt get sidetracked by bullshit every goddamn time. And I'm like, isn't that the rule of every game? Like, you start out on a quest and a mission, and then you end up with all these side quests.
Yeah, it's like, what was I doing again? Oh, yeah, saving the world.
So it's like so perfect.
It is. It's truly every game character, like you said. Yeah. Lucy is sweet and innocent, and I'm just like, you sweet summer child.
I think it's funny too because in Fallout 3, the premise for leaving the vault is to find your father.
Oh.
And so it's literally like the metaphor for the game because like that's why you left, but then like all these side quests and all this bullshit that you got to deal with.
Dang.
Yeah.
So like in that game, is it similar to some of the stuff that happens in the show?
I don't think so. Again, like I haven't played it in years, so I can't remember vividly what happened. The elements and like the look and feel are very much the game, but the actual like story is kind of different besides her, leaving to go look for her father. I don't think your father's the overseer.
Oh, it's just like just a dad.
Mm-hmm.
It's been daddy napped.
Yeah. I think in Fallout 4 you're like looking for your son.
What did they do with my boy? Yeah.
Carl.
Dads and sons just going missing all over media. Yeah.
Yeah.
Moms are dead and dads and sons are missing.
I like how they give us this golden rule that like the vault tech people have. And then we also see the other side where Lucy's brother, who's still in the vault dealing with like the repercussions and having to now work in the prison and deal with these raiders that came down and figure out what to do with him. It like flips for him, that role. He's like, well, they wouldn't be treating us like this, so we should treat them the same.
Well, I love that like we sort of see he and Lucy are kind of foils for each other because Lucy is holding on to these vault ideals even out in this horrible wasteland, and her brother is sort of like giving up on those ideals after the trauma that they went through. We see this sort of a loss of innocence with him. And I'm like, his villain era has begun. What was their friend's name who like her husband died and now she has the eye patch? Do you remember? I don't remember her name, but yeah.
Oh, I forget.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
The one who was like hinting like, yeah.
Yeah, she was like,
your dad wouldn't have let this.
I was like, oh, she's trying to like the little devil on his shoulder, trying to be like, you should do it anyway, even though they told you not to.
Yeah, she's nudging him, so I'm excited to see where that goes.
When we see the prisoners that they have, the raiders, they're just like, I'm gonna eat your heart and like all this other hardcore stuff. So, and then some of the vault dwellers during their like city council meeting are saying that they're like, oh, I can teach them Shakespeare, I can teach them Kant to give them like moral values or whatever.
I'll teach them calculus.
Yeah. It's like, wow. I think it's really interesting to see sort of like how people are trying to ignore the reality that's staring them in the face. And so I don't know if Lucy's going to have a home to go back to.
I don't know. Another rule that we get, which Thaddeus, who, as we know, comes back in this episode, our Sir Maximus is given a new squire, the guy that bullied him before. And Thaddeus says the law of the wasteland is that people die all the time.
Yeah. I was like, Maximus is, I can't tell if I like him or not. I'm like, he's kind of just like this little weasel guy, and I'm like, you kind of suck. But at the same time, he's like this, really naive, hopeful guy who's like, he wants to be a knight and do the right thing. But he essentially pretends to be Titus because he lies on the radio. And I was like, why did you lie? Why did you say? I guess Titus told him that they would kill him if they found out. But I don't know. I wonder, like, have knights died before?
I feel like he's like, if I complete this quest, then they'll forgive me. They'll realize why I, carried on.
Yeah,
and
it's
I
like,
don't think he wants it taken away from him either. Like, he's like dreamt of this moment of having this armor, and yeah, I don't think he wants that taken away.
He's looking for absolution. I mean, well, at the end of the episode, we see them retrieve the head after a fierce battle with this
scene.
Gross axolotl thing.
Oh my gosh, the axolotl. At one moment, I was like, oh, actually, it's kind of cute. Oh my gosh, it's an axolotl. And then when it opened its mouth wide and we saw those fingers, I was just like, oh, this is so gross.
And like its hands were human hands. And they were all wrinkly. And I was like, that's disgusting.
It was so gross. Man. I was cracking up at that moment. The shots that they were doing of the axolotl like coming up, and then Sir Maximus like standing all heroically at first in the water. Oh gosh. Oh. But I love that he was trying to do the right thing, because the squire Thaddeus was like, let me go for you, sir. And he's like, no, I got this. And he put himself out there, unlike, the actual Sir Titus or whatever. And it's like trying to save Thaddeus. So I liked those moments.
That was a good moment. And then Thaddeus turns around and saves him. So,
but it's gross again. Because Thaddeus, once he's in his mouth, and they pull, and then he gets stuck on the fingers, and then the axolotl's insides come out.
Yeah. I guess so it vomited itself to death or something.
So gross.
Yeah. That's pretty gnarly.
Yeah.
And then the dog meat's just licking the head, and I was like, one, ew, because it's a decapitated head, and two, it's covered in vomit. That's disgusting.
Yeah. I find myself cracking up a lot and then turning away from the TV because it's so gnarly.
Lucy gets captured by the Ghoul, and I feel like they're going to end up becoming friends.
Well, I think too, because we get to see a little bit more of the Ghoul, in the beginning of the episode. We see him on set, and his persona, he's asking the director, do I really have to kill this guy? I don't think I would do that, He thinks it's wrong. So we see his humanity. We see him with his wife and his child on set. And by the end of the episode, we find out that he was the Vault Tech boy, the poster child.
Does that character have a name, the little thumbs up guy?
I can't remember. I think it's just Vault Boy, but okay. I don't remember.
So he was supposed to be the model for that character, essentially. Wow.
He's the one that came up with the idea of the thumbs up. But then also, no wonder he's bitter, because he was the poster child for that campaign. Where was his vault?
Yeah, it seems like he was down on his luck. So yeah, they must have tossed him to the curb.
Yep. So he must carry some resentment and bitterness. But also, he didn't kill Lucy, and she's wearing this Vault Tech suit. So it's maybe he has conflicted feelings about all of that.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like if I was an irradiated ghoul with no nose after 200 years, I'd be pretty bitter too. I'd be pretty salty, not gonna lie. But yeah, Lucy is I feel like Lucy, her unwavering optimism is going to wear him down, I think.
I think so. But we also see her get a little. I mean, she's already been having several tastes of the wasteland, from sawing off a head, being dunked in the water and used as bait, and now, like, going along the wasteland and being thirsty and seeing the ghoul drink water, and her now asking somebody else for water.
Mm-hmm.
It's
I love that
poor summer
moment
child.
where, like, she's at camp and she's talking to the scientist's head, because like Lucy has kind of been our like every person, because everybody else is kind of like wild in the wasteland, but we also see that like Lucy is kind of weird too. So because she's like, you know, she's not really disturbed by the fact that there's a severed head that she's carrying around, and she's just like
Nope.
carrying it by the hair, like she doesn't have it in a bag or anything. And so
And then
yeah,
when she puts the tracker in, and she's just like, I'm gonna put this right here.
in his
Okie
nose.
dokie. Yeah. Right up his nose. It's just like, wow,
Snug
she's
as a
not really
bug.
disturbed by that head. Okay.
I love this scene when oh man, what was his name? They told us his human name before he became the ghoul, or at least his last name, and I forget what it
Oh,
was.
yeah.
Um, but I love like seeing sort of that moment when you think he and his wife are meeting for the first time, but it's just like them being cute on set together before the daughter
Yeah.
runs up.
With the
Yeah.
lavender candy.
Mm-hmm. I think it's a
It's really
great scene
cute.
because it's like it gives us insight into their love and their relationship, but without like having a flashback within a flashback. So, um, yeah, I
Yeah.
thought that was a really clever use of time and great way to do that.
I think it's funny too, because I mean, last time when we meet the doctor and he's talking about the rad roach and how the wasteland changes you and what we want when you're a different type of animal. Like, we are getting that in the ghoul. Like, he started out one way as this poster child, and now look at him, and it's like, what what happened to this guy?
Yeah, he was a sweet, loving
He's
father. Now he's
Yeah.
a cold-blooded killer in the
Yep.
wasteland.
So it's like, is that what Lucy will become? I hope
I
not. I
don't
hope she has a
know.
different. Is
We'll
that what
see.
Sir Maximus will become? They're both are like naive, sweet, you know,
I
Girl
mean,
Scout, Boy Scout.
we did see that there's like a longing that they have for each other also, because what did we say? Lord Lucimus? Lord Lucimus is
Yeah,
alive.
Lord Lucimus is alive and well.
She's like, wow, that night, he sure was something.
Yeah.
And then like he's holding her boot after he gets it out of the creature's mouth, and it's like
Yeah.
longing for her. I wonder if he thinks that she's dead because her boot's in there, but
Yeah. I thought it was funny when Thaddeus came upon the doc's body and was like, do you think this was the girl or do you think this was the ghoul's work? And Sir Maximus is like, oh, definitely the ghoul.
couldn't have been that sweet damsel I saved. Yeah.
Yeah. That's so funny. I like that we got to learn about Thaddeus. And I like we got to see Sir Maximus's, like, conflict
Mm-hmm.
when he arrived, and like whether he just wanted to squish him because this is the guy that was beating him up in the first episode, and then he was having him do all of those things like climb the tree and look for fruit, and it was clearly a dead tree.
Yeah, he was getting a little bit of revenge.
Yeah, but we heard that Thaddeus had gotten bullied before Maximus came, and so thus the bullied turned into the bully, and he was
A
actually
vicious
kind of
cycle.
sorry for it. Yeah.
Yeah. I do love that moment when Thaddeus is like refilling the water tank, and they kind of bond a little bit, and open up to one another. Maximus is like, say something bad about Maximus, and we get Thaddeus is honest about the bullying, and that, I thought that was a really sweet moment.
Yeah. And I guess our ghoul is looking for medicine, right? That's his bullshit side quest that he needs to deal with. Because he was like, I think the head will be fine for a while. It takes a while to digest. Or basically, that's what he was thinking.
Because it's like those little yellow vials that we saw him
Mm-hmm.
taking. So some kind of, maybe he has asthma like Darth Vader or something. Maybe there's some kind of thing that's keeping him alive that he's using like an
that it
inhaler.
needs to survive in the wasteland.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see where he's going to get it from.
Me too. I'm glad it didn't seem like Sir Maximus was like, remember he had to give up one of his teeth or a couple of his teeth for those caps?
Yes, because he only has 4 caps, and the repair person says they won't fix it for less than 5. And so he sells
I
a
was
tooth.
like, oh no, is he gonna be like this the whole time? Because he was like talking that way, but I feel like by the end of I feel like he didn't the whole time.
Yeah, those other scavengers, they knocked him straight, I guess, when they were beating him up.
That was horrible.
Yeah.
I was like, not again. He's always getting beat up.
Thaddeus got to get your weight up. Well, because when he walked over there and there was a group of them, I was like, oh, he's done for. He's not going to be able to beat up a group of people. But I love that, like, in his mind, he's like, I'm the valiant hero. Stand down, evildoers.
And they thought that was hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm really loving this, Carmen.
I love this show too. I like the world building is fun. I think that all the characters are really interesting, and I'm excited to see what happens next. I feel like if I have a theory about what's going to happen next. So okay, this may or may not be a spoiler. So you've been warned. I don't know if this is a spoiler or not. I haven't watched ahead, but I'm just guessing.
Okay.
So the Brotherhood said that, or Thaddeus told Maximus that the Brotherhood was like, whoever controls the head controls the wasteland. What if that like stuff that the scientist put in his neck? What if that is like some type of like mineral or something that can like essentially it's like some kind of like super fertilizer or something like that, because I think at one point in time somebody was saying that they could like bring back the old world in one of the other previous episodes. So I wonder if like essentially if they could try to use that to like, you know, start to regrow the crops or like fix the water,
like Horizon Zero Dawn or something.
Well, I don't know about terraforming, but like maybe just to like set nature back on track so that people can inhabit the surface world again or something like that.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, so like maybe the Brotherhood of Steel wants to control all the resources or something like that.
Yeah, I'm very curious to figure out what that is and why everybody wants it. And also, you know, clearly the other scientist or whoever he was working for didn't want him to escape with that.
Yes, and so it's like, why?
So why?
And that also makes me wonder, like, was he working for Vault Tech or who was he working for?
I don't know. But he sure did know a lot about all of the vaults and what they represented.
Yeah.
I think it's also interesting that we got a little backstory, too, that those particular vaults, 31, 32, 33, like had their own little... It was just those 3 vaults. It wasn't like they're all interconnected to other vaults. Like they had an agreement that they were stronger together, so...
I wonder if it was like some kind of experiment by Vault-Tec.
Maybe.
I don't know. I'm excited to find out what happens. Yeah.
Me too. I also thought it was funny Thaddeus talking about the shit farm. I was like, what? I thought he was a shitter on a shit farm?
Yeah, he was like, they'd feed it to the flies. I was like, how big were these flies? What the heck?
It's hilarious. I love those little details about the world.
Yeah.
It's pretty great. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. Don't forget to subscribe at Take This TV on Instagram and TikTok. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. And remember, it's dangerous to watch TV alone.